Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question comes to us straight out of the Judge Vault, and it was requested by viewer Giuseppe Pelleteri. Amy plays Murktide Regent, exiling 5 instants. Nick responds by playing Dress Down. What happens? Alright, so anytime something is entering the battlefield, the game has to check to see if there's any replacement effects that might affect that move. These replacement effects can obviously come from external sources, or they could come from the thing that's entering the battlefield itself. Now, the thing that makes this question kind of interesting is that Dress Down only applies to creatures that are on the battlefield. It doesn't apply anytime other than when they're on the battlefield. So if you already know a little bit about how replacement effects work, you might remember that replacement effects like Murktide Regents are going to apply immediately before Murktide Regent enters the battlefield. So if you're thinking about things from that point of view, you might think that Murktide Regent would get the counters. However, that's kind of a counterintuitive result, no pun intended. After all, the ability that gives the counters to the Murktide Regent is getting taken away, so how could that ability function and give counters to that creature? Questions like this are the reason why we have this rule here, which says that anytime we're deciding what replacement effects apply and how they apply, the game does take into account any pre-existing continuous effects that would be changing the characteristics of the object that's entering the battlefield. In English, what this means is that when you're deciding whether the Murktide Regent's replacement effect is going to apply or not, the game is going to consider that while it's on the battlefield, it won't have any abilities. Because the Murktide Regent doesn't have any abilities, it won't have that replacement effect as it's entering the battlefield. And because there's no replacement effect telling you to put counters on Murktide Regent, it will not get any counters as it's entering the battlefield in this case. So there's a couple of other situations involving these cards that I wanted to talk about while I'm on the topic. First of all, if you have a Murktide Regent that's already on the battlefield and there's a Dress Down out, then of course the Dress Down is going to take away the triggered ability that would put +1/+1 counters on the Murktide Regent. So if, for example, you had these two cards out and you flash back to instant or sorcery from your graveyard, then you would not be getting a +1/+1 counter on the Murktide Regent because of course the triggered ability that would put that counter on it is going to be getting taken away by the Dress Down. On the other hand, if you were going to play a Murktide Regent from your hand, then it would still have Delve, even if there was a Dress Down out. That's because, again, Dress Down only applies to creatures on the battlefield. It doesn't do anything to creature spells on the stack or creature cards in your hand, so you would be able to Delve just fine. You just might not want to exile any instant or sorcery cards when you're doing that, because of course you would not get counters as discussed earlier. And that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again tomorrow for another daily ruling, but until then, I hope you have a great day.